Well, my favorite people, the vegans. Look at the news today. Disney is getting more and more stress. Everybody's talking about this Disney thing. You heard it here first. I talked about it yesterday. Disney is trying to say that if you sign a month trial with Disney Plus and then go to one of their theme parks and get murdered by them, you can't sue them because you have a Disney Plus membership. They're saying that because you sign on the dotted line saying that you would only engage in outside third party arbitration, binding arbitration, and not actually take them to court, then then you can't do it if they kill you. If they kill your wife or your spouse or your anybody, if they kill a person you care about, your daughter, let's say, at one of their restaurants or one of their rides, and you have a Disney Plus membership, that's just too bad. You're going to have to take it to arbitration and not actually sue them in a court of law because, after all, Disney. You signed up for Disney Plus. You signed the dotted line. It's unbelievable. I've never heard of something like this before, and I think it's shaking some shit up, and I like it. It's what a weird. Leave it to Disney to try to get out of killing a person. Disney, hey, you killed a person. We want $50,000. Nah, nah. You said you wouldn't sue us. Unfriggin' believable. Um, the headline today is funny. What do marijuana and the death penalty and fracking have in common? Harris has shifted positions on them. Vice President Harris has shifted, of course, as an attorney general and as a prosecutor, as a DA. She enforce marijuana laws. That's her job. So I don't really think that has anything to do with any death penalty. The same thing as the DA. You defend the death penalty. You don't try to change the law. You try to enforce the law. That's what the executive branch does. I'm against the death penalty, and so was Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom just removed, after he lost his battle trying to outlaw the death penalty, he just removed all of the gas chambers and all of the methods by which someone might be killed. So all of the lethal injection chambers, all that stuff, he just ordered them removed because he's the governor. And so now, even if someone is convicted of the death penalty in California, it's impossible to carry it out. So now, since he took away the tools of murder, effectively there is no death penalty in California. It's a pretty cool, ballsy move by an executive, but his attorney general and he disagreed, and so he changed things up. Jackie Boyle, thank you so much. Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate you. Um, Fracking. Yeah, she was against it. Now she's kind of for it, but fracking's a complicated one. I don't know. And so yeah, people change their positions. I don't think it's so crazy. I mean, Donald Trump used to be totally for abortion. Now he's against it. He used to be for declassifying the Epstein list, and now he's against declassifying the Epstein list. I wonder why. And because he's on it. And, he's these politicians, they change their positions, but I don't really think that this is a nothing burger, I think. But they're trying to make some hay out of it. It's kind of funny. As you know, the views expressed on this channel have nothing to do with anybody else but me. I am the only one who holds these views. The vegan community at large has no view, and I do not endorse any candidate because none of them are vegan. Give me a vegan candidate, maybe I would endorse them, but that's it. That's it, okay? I gotta say it. Trump blends falsehoods and exaggerations at rambling New Jersey press conference. I haven't seen the new press conference, but I can't wait to watch it. I'm enthralled. I love election year. We've only got about 90 days or 85 days left before we can stop talking about this. So hey, stick with me. We won't have to talk about this forever. But it's election year. The families of hostages in Gaza hope ceasefire talks will end their nightmare. This article I read, it is kind of sad. There's 100 hostages in Gaza. Hamas is saying that 40,000 people are dead. They don't distinguish between militants and civilians, and we have to just take their numbers at face value. Doesn't seem right, but because uh, I can't wait until we have the number really, because this 40,000 number we've heard for a long time. 40,000 people are dead. 40,000 people are dead. It seems weird because like they evacuate the cities. How are 40,000 people anyway? I have my misgivings about that number. But if 40,000 people are dead and 100 hostages are still taken, are still languishing in Palestine, in Gaza, why the heck don't we just it's such an annoying thing. Every morning I wake up and I'm hoping that the ceasefire talks have gone through because I'm against war. I'm critical of anyone who uses violence. And one of the things was that the families themselves are criticizing Benjamin Netanyahu because, of course, he's facing some kind of criminal prosecution when he gets out of office. Is he just staying in this war for political gain? Is he just using the hostages as pawns? It's something to think about. I'm not a fan of Benjamin Netanyahu and haven't been for 30 friggin' years, but I find it very very suspect, and it seems like we should have been able to figure this out by now. Should Seems like we should have figured this out, don't you think? Anywho, Matthew Perry, they just indicted 5 people. I think it's really interesting. Maybe every time somebody dies of a drug overdose or any kind of drug, we should indict the people who made the drugs and sold it to them. I think that's great. Next time someone dies of an opioid overdose or any kind of opioid, I think that we should arrest the doctor. Arrest them. Hold them accountable. We should start arresting doctors. They're the ones that are pushing these drugs on people. They're the ones that are taking the cash from the pharmaceutical companies, and giving them to people. Who knows what the hell what actually killed Matthew Perry? But we're gonna find out. I guess we're gonna have a trial now since 5 people have been indicted. What do you know? Why am I against what? The death penalty or war? Yeah, I'm against the death penalty and war. I don't know which one you're talking about. Why are you against it? Doesn't help me. It is immoral to take life from a sentient being who wants to live. Yeah. Well, usually. Usually it's against it's immoral to take life from anyone. Yeah, to take life from someone who wants to live. Yeah, you're right. But the big question is, I think you're talking about neoliberals constantly shift their positions because they have no fundamental principles besides banal self-interest. Yes, John Holton. Now there's a good comment. I think your comment is right on target. I would also like to add that in the system that we exist, we didn't just fall out of coconut trees. You exist in the context of the whatever. But the truth is, people like Kamala Harris and people like, people who actually worked in something that their father didn't give them, you know, you have to make compromises. You have to do what you have to do to keep your job. And that's a terrifying prospect. It's terrifying to think, well, this was the job I was hired to do. I had to put my morals on the side. I had to put my principles on the side and do the job and carry out the tasks given to me in order to collect a paycheck so that I can exist. And maybe if you're political, rise up. And not even in politics. It doesn't have to be politics. It could be any business. And then maybe rise up in that business and industry and change the industry. That's something that a lot of people, I myself, you start out and you climb up the ladder, and by the time you start getting to make decisions about what is actually happening in that industry, you might actually affect change and then be able to impose your principles. But for most of your life, you're basically just following orders, and you have to put everything on the back burner, and it's BS. It's not right. It's not right. And people like Kamala Harris, who worked as a as a DA and an attorney general, DA and an AG in California and San Francisco, respectively, they they have to just enforce the laws that the Congress puts together. The state Senate puts these laws out, and their job is to enforce them, to prosecute them. That's it. That's your job. You want to change it? I guess you better work hard at what you're doing and rise up through the ranks and become vice president someday, and hopefully you can actually make some changes and make the world form the world a little bit more the way you'd like to see it rather than just follow orders. So that's the deal. That's what we're done. You're right. They're constantly shifting because they have no fundamental principles. I would tend to agree with that, but even if they do have principles, I'm saying it still doesn't help because they have to always be putting them on the back burner to do their jobs. 80 days till the election. I know, I can't wait. IDF says they have killed 20,000 Hamas fighters. Yeah, the IDF says 20K, and then Hamas says 40K. One is too many, and I'm against military might obliterating people. I'm also against hostage taking and using rape as a weapon and killing people at a concert. So there we end up. Why can't we figure this ceasefire out? It seems like both are playing a political game, and the regular people like you and I and the people of Palestine are caught in the middle. People of Palestine are being used as pawns by that entire region, everyone involved. The people are being used as pawns. That's just they're being used, and not just by Palestine and Israel, but by Iran, Lebanon, Egypt. All of them are using the people of Palestine as pawns. That's the way it's been going on for 100 years. Nothing is new. I've been saying this from the beginning. Every 10 or 15 years, we have a big scuffle like this, and then we all go back to sleep and think there's peace in the Middle East, and then we all come back to this again in another 10 years. That's what's going to happen this time too, unless Hamas is destroyed once and for all. But even then, who knows? 10 years from now, we'll be in the same position. Except if you want muscles or travel, LOL. You are stuck on this, man. Travel. Is travel killing? Is building muscles killing? Interesting idea. It's an interesting idea. Interesting idea. Anyway, the biggest question about the death penalty thing, I think, was what you were asking about. The question should remain: what role should the state play? The state be murdering? Should the state be taking people who have committed crimes and putting them in putting them in incarcerating them, and then destroying their lives? Is that something the state should be doing? Especially if the state is at least a small percentage complicit in the crime. I don't know. I think maybe. I think it's a good question.